Hey, welcome back to the channel. Imagine a gold coin so rare, fewer than 10 are believed to exist. A coin so legendary it commands over $1 million whenever it surfaces. Today we're counting down the top 2 most in-demand Australian gold coins. Stay with me, because these coins are the crown jewels of Australian numismatics. Let's moving on. First up, the 1852 Adelaide Type 2 Gold Pound, struck in South Australia. During a time of both opportunity and uncertainty, this coin is not merely a piece of gold, but a living testament to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of a young colony grappling with the challenges of a gold rush economy. Today, as it comes to market with an estimated range of $170,000 to $240,000, the Adelaide Pound stands tall not just as an artifact of monetary necessity, but as one of the crown jewels of Australian colonial coinage. The Adelaide Pound has always held a mythical place in the imagination of collectors. In 1852, when gold was discovered in South Australia, miners and merchants quickly recognized that transporting raw gold, dust and nuggets for transactions was both impractical and dangerous. The solution came in the form of a local minting initiative, coins struck directly from the colony's own gold. Unlike other colonial issues struck under official royal approval, these coins were produced under pressing local need, making them Australia's very first gold coins. The Type 2 variety, in particular, tells a fascinating story of adaptation. While the initial Type 1 design proved structurally weak and prone to cracking, the modified Type 2 corrected these shortcomings and allowed for greater durability, giving it a stronger presence in circulation and ultimately in the annals of Australian numismatic history. What elevates this coin far above its gold content, however, is the sheer rarity and desirability that has surrounded it for more than 170 years. Only a small number were struck, and fewer still have survived in collectible condition. Each surviving example is not simply valued for its scarcity, but for the narrative it carries, an emblem of independence, a coin struck in defiance of distance from the mother country, and a powerful reminder of the resilience of South Australia's pioneering spirit. For collectors at the highest echelon, acquiring an Adelaide Pound is often regarded as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and for institutions, it represents an irreplaceable cornerstone in any curated history of Australian currency. The market has consistently reflected the elite standing of the 1852 Adelaide Pound. Its value has not been driven solely by rarity, but by a deep, enduring demand among seasoned collectors who understand its significance. In an era where historical coins are increasingly appreciated not just for their scarcity, but for their tangible connection to formative national events, the Adelaide Pound occupies a privileged position. Recent years have seen a steady climb in the prices, realized for examples of this caliber, affirming its place as a true blue-chip numismatic asset. The current estimate of $170,000 to $240,000 places this piece firmly in the league of premier, investment-grade collectibles, the kind that does not simply hold value, but has the potential to grow in prestige and desirability with each passing generation. A coin such as this cannot be appreciated solely in terms of gold weight. Though the intrinsic value is not insignificant, its real power lies in its ability to transport the viewer to the year 1852, when Adelaide was a bustling colonial outpost grappling with the influx of wealth, people, and commerce brought about by the gold rush. To hold such a coin is to hold the very essence of Australia's numismatic beginning, a tangible piece of history that transcends the centuries. Its condition, preservation, and provenance make it more than an artifact. They elevate it to the level of cultural treasure. Collectors who pursue the Adelaide Pound know they are not just acquiring a coin, they are becoming custodians of a legacy. Few opportunities such as this present themselves on the open market, and when they do, they attract international attention. This offering, poised within its estimate range, will no doubt generate excitement among discerning buyers, institutions, and investors alike. It represents the perfect intersection of rarity, history, and artistry, qualities that define the very best in numismatic collecting. The 1852 Adelaide Type II Gold Pound is a coin of unquestionable gravitas. Its value extends beyond numbers on a catalogue page. It is an heirloom of Australia's gold rush, a symbol of colonial resilience, and a definitive statement of numismatic prestige. For the collector who acquires it, the reward is not simply ownership, but a connection to a story that has defined a nation's monetary and cultural evolution. With its market estimate of $170,000 to $240,000, this coin stands as one of the most significant treasures to cross the auction block, offering a rare chance to secure a masterpiece of Australian coinage that will forever anchor any collection in which it resides. Next up, the 1920 Sydney Mint Gold Sovereign belongs firmly in this category. A coin so elusive, so steeped in intrigue, and so sparingly encountered that it has been enshrined as one of the great rarities of the British Empire and Commonwealth series. With an estimated value of approximately $1.02 million, it is not merely a numismatic treasure, but a cultural and historical artifact of the highest order. The story of the sovereign is itself one of empire and endurance. For centuries, sovereigns were the premier gold coin of the British realm, circulating across the globe as a symbol of trust, power, and stability. The Sydney branch of the Royal Mint, established in 1855, was the very first overseas mint to strike sovereigns. For Australia, it represented both recognition of its rich gold resources and an affirmation of its vital place within the empire's economic engine. Over time, millions of sovereigns were struck in Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth, serving both the needs of domestic commerce and the demands of international trade. Yet within this vast and varied output, the 1920 Sydney sovereign stands apart as an extraordinary anomaly. The reason for its legendary status lies in its extreme scarcity. Unlike earlier years, when production of sovereigns was regular and abundant, the post-war economic landscape of the early 1920s was shifting. The Great War had left deep scars on global economies, and the demand for gold coinage had waned. In this transitional climate, the Sydney Mint is believed to have struck a minute number of sovereigns in 1920, likely using leftover dies rather than mounting a full production run. For decades, numismatists debated whether the coin was a mere rumor, so infrequently did it surface. When authentic examples were eventually confirmed, they were met with astonishment, for it became clear that the 1920 Sydney sovereign was not simply rare. It was one of the rarest sovereigns ever struck by any mint, anywhere in the empire. The handful of known examples, fewer than 10, by most scholarly counts, have made this coin an icon of world numismatics. Unlike many rarities, whose values are bolstered by speculation alone, the 1920 Sydney sovereign carries an unassailable pedigree of historical importance. Its rarity is natural, born of circumstance, rather than engineered or manipulated. Its survival is remarkable, given that most sovereigns struck for circulation eventually found their way to the melting pot. The fact that even a few pieces remain is an extraordinary stroke of fortune for collectors and historians alike. When one of these elusive coins appears at auction, it does not simply attract attention, it electrifies the market. Collectors of sovereigns, advanced numismatists, and institutional investors all converge in pursuit, fully aware that opportunities to acquire such a specimen may not present themselves again for decades. The $1.02 million valuation reflects not only the scarcity of the coin, but also the fierce global demand that surrounds it. In the hierarchy of numismatic collectibles, this coin commands respect alongside world-famous rarities like the American 1933 Double Eagle or the British 1819 sovereign. The Sydney sovereign of 1920 also carries immense symbolic weight. It marks the twilight of Sydney's minting legacy, for within a few years the Sydney Mint ceased striking sovereigns altogether. It is, in essence, both a culmination and a farewell, a rare golden echo of an institution that had faithfully served the empire's currency needs for more than 6 decades. In this way, The coin transcends mere numismatic rarity and becomes a historical keystone, bridging Australia's colonial past with its emergence into the modern economic age. Owning a coin of this magnitude is not simply about possession, it is about stewardship. The 1920 Sydney sovereign is, by every measure, a cultural treasure. It belongs to a select company of coins, whose very existence elevates any collection to world-class status. For private collectors, it represents the pinnacle of sovereign collecting, the ultimate prize that embodies both challenge and triumph. For museums and public institutions, it serves as a teaching tool, a golden thread that connects Australia's gold rush legacy with its place in the global monetary system. The estimated value of around $1.2 million underscores its status as an investment-grade rarity, one that transcends fluctuations in bullion markets and follows its own trajectory, driven by scarcity and historical weight. Coins such as this do not merely hold their value. They rewrite the parameters of what is possible in the numismatic market. For the astute collector or investor, securing such a treasure is not only about financial foresight, but about entering a very exclusive club of custodians who understand the privilege of ownership. The 1920 Sydney Mint Gold Sovereign is not simply a coin. It is an icon, a legend, and a tangible embodiment of history. It whispers of a post-war world in transition, of a mint nearing the end of its storied journey, and of the extraordinary resilience of objects that were never meant to survive. Today it stands as one of the rarest and most desirable coins ever produced on Australian soil, a coin that inspires reverence, admiration, and an almost mythical sense of awe. With a market valuation of approximately $1.2 million, it is not just a sovereign, but a sovereign of sovereigns, the ultimate prize for the connoisseur of world-class numismatics.